What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the training here. So we're going to dive right into this number 6 here. So we're going to talk about high intensity interval training and whether or not this is something actually if you should implement. Personally, we're going to dive right into it because high intensity interval training is probably one of the most popular things that you see on just like in terms of like group workout classes and stuff like that. We're going to talk about why this might be effective. But more importantly, what I want to actually bring your attention to is when you're actually doing any sort of exercise, if you think about it and what we talked about, it only accounts for 5 to 15% of your total daily energy expenditure. So it's not really that much here. Our primary focus should be RMR, NEAT, even a thermogenic effective food plays a really integral role in losing your first 10 pounds here. So if we know this to be true and we're prioritizing RMR, building up your muscle groups, assessing which muscles to build, building up the capacity, building up your metabolism long term, so it's like investing into your body so that you become this fat burning machine. If we understand that to be true, then we know that we need to use high intensity interval training to facilitate that growth here. So how can we actually do something like that? Well, basically, if you think about like high intensity interval training and why it's effective, basically what it's meant to do is it increases calorie burn in less time. Okay, that's like probably the biggest benefit to doing this, which then you have like 20 to 30 minutes and we can push your body to its upper echelon. And obviously from there, you start to burn a bit more calories. Okay. And so when we're actually talking about like this afterburn effect, which we're going to talk about, some people are talking about how this boosts your metabolism. This is actually untrue, which is why actually I brought this here. Okay. Boost your metabolism. So here's the thing that I wanted to bring your attention to. This here, high intensity interval training stimulates excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, which means your body continues to burn calories after the workout is over for even hours afterwards. So the reason why I brought this up was because I wanted to educate you guys that this is actually a false statement. Okay. This is probably one of the things where I don't really want to like continue just busting myths and talk about like why it's not effective for like fat loss, but we need to understand the principles around why high intensity interval training is effective. Now, it boosts metabolism simply because it increases your resting metabolic rate. It doesn't actually stimulate excess post-exercise consumption, EPOC. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit of a change here, but the reason why this is in here is so that we can highlight that it doesn't boost your metabolism based off of this factor here, but it boosts metabolism because it builds up more muscle mass. If you have only 20 to 30 minutes a day and you're consistently training the muscle groups that we want you to train and you're training effectively, you're building up capacity, you are going to build your metabolism. But it's not because of this excess post oxygen consumption theory. Okay, just gonna make a change here. Number 3, this preserves muscle mass. So obviously, unlike steady state cardio, this is actually using some sort of strength training routine. So from here, because you're using strength training routine, you can then start to build up more muscle mass. And then from here, once you actually start to have the capacity, you can move into more explosive movements. So explosive movements are great because this is where you actually develop fast twitch muscle fiber. Everyone has a genetic potential. So for instance, like Usain Bolt, he has like way more number of like fast twitch fibers, maybe like 70% of his body compared to like someone like me. Maybe I only have like 40%. But the more you do fast twitch fiber movements, the more you start to convert your soft, kind of like this fluffy endurance-based muscle into this type 2 fast twitch muscle fiber, which is basically the progress in which we want our clients to get to. Because when you're infused with fast twitch muscle fiber, this is the type of way where your capacity is so high that you just going up and down stairs is super freaking easy for you to do that because it's just so easy. Like imagine you're LeBron James, like you're not going to just like, again, like walk off the curb and like sprain his ankle. His capacity is so high. So the more we can get you into this like elite explosive element, obviously it's a bit of time to get there. Not only will you become like a fat burning machine because like fast twitch muscle fiber, you literally burn more calories at rest than like someone who's a bit more fluffier, right? But you actually have like way more explosive movements. You can be able to like destroy your kids in a race, which is probably the most important thing in life, guys. You know what I mean? Cool. Last thing is it's very time efficient, so you can get a full workout out in just 20 to 30 minutes, making it very, very nice for people with a really, really busy schedule. Okay. So HIIT workouts are usually structured with alternating periods of intense effort followed by short recovery. Here's how you can set it up. Okay. So you can do 20 seconds, not 20 minutes, 20 to 40 seconds, all out high intensity effort, sprints, burpees, roll, jump squats. Okay. Interval training is 10 to 20 second rest, lower intensity move. You can walk, jog, you can even just like stretch. A typical HIIT workout can last 20 to 30 minutes, including warm up and cool down. And you can do 6 cycles of this, right? Here's an example routine that you guys can read through. Okay, you can repeat this 3 to 4 times. And if you're a beginner, Start with 20 seconds of work followed by 20 seconds of rest. Gradually start to increase the work time and decrease the rest time, which is progressive overload. And you can do this as your fitness starts to increase. Incorporate HIIT workouts with cardio equipment. So if you have access to like treadmill, stationary bike, rowing machine, you can even use this for your HIIT session. This is a really good way to build your cardiovascular endurance. Okay. If you're using any sort of treadmill, this is not going to build muscle mass. Just know that this is going to improve your heart health, your cardiovascular system. Okay, so this type of HIIT is ideal for people who prefer cardio equipment or want lower impact option here. So if you're just starting out, increase the rest period to 90 seconds or lower the sprint intensity. And as you build endurance, shorten the rest period and increase the sprint intensity. Okay, so how often should you do HIIT? So while HIIT is highly effective, it's also really demanding on your body. Okay, so doing too much of this can actually cause overtraining, burning out. Because think about it, you're like sprinting super freaking hard for like 20 seconds. It's very, very taxing for your central nervous system, which is your brain. So you can aim for maybe 2 to 3 HIIT sessions per week. That's basically the upper echelon. Like most of our clients, if we were to program this, it'd usually be if they're like traveling, they don't have access to equipment. So this is a really good time for them to actually train first thing in the morning. You have like 20, 30 minutes and you go on with your day. You don't have access to like any sort of hotel. You don't have access to any equipment. You don't want to like travel to the gym. High intensity interval training is really, really good for that option. So we can create something for our clients when they're traveling out of town. And this allows for recovery between sessions, ensuring that you don't overstress your muscles or nervous system. So making sure you have a balanced schedule. So what's really important is you want to combine HIIT with strength training and increasing your NEAT. As we kind of mentioned, NEAT is one of the most important things for your fat loss. And avoid doing high intensity interval training on consecutive days to give your muscle and cardiovascular system time to recover, because you're going really, really hard. You typically want a day rest in between, which is why we don't actually like structure high intensity interval training as part of our regular programming, because sometimes our clients want to train 5 times a week. And if you only have 3 days a week to train, high intensity interval training doesn't really work, because on Monday you just go super freaking hard. Tuesday you go super hard. Wednesday you're just completely zapped. And if those are the 3 days where you can only train, it's not really maximizing your resources, your energy, and capacity. So how can you customize high intensity interval training for different levels? With beginners, start with shorter workouts. Okay, so maybe like 20 seconds. You can have longer rest periods. From here, focus on form, gradually increase the intensity over time. If you're intermediate, aim for 30 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, incorporate more complex movements, burpees, box jumps, even some depth jumps, kettlebell swings. If you're advanced, push yourself with longer working periods. So you can see here, this is 40 seconds compared to 20 seconds, double the amount of intensity, double the amount of work. Shorter rest period. So again, way shorter. This is 10 to 20 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds. And this can increase your intensity. You can add more resistance by using weight, or you can actually work on more explosive movements. And explosive stuff is definitely the thing that we really focus on for our higher level athletes, simply because this is where you become a freaking phenom. You become a savage, right? It's so fun to be able to like max effort sprint, do like max effort jump, be explosive, feel good. You just feel amazing when you're able to do that stuff. You let your body fly. You know what I mean? So from here, how can you actually make this actionable? We'll modify the intensity of high intensity interval training depending on how your body feels. Okay, so you're feeling really sore, you're fatigued, your central nervous system is completely zapped. You can scale back on like the working time, or you can have longer rest periods. You can even reduce the amount of rounds that you have. Cool. Benefits of adding high intensity interval training to your routine. Well, it's very time efficient and burns fat faster, right? Obviously, because you're burning more calories. Improves your cardiovascular health, which is great because this is actually something that you don't really get if you're just doing resistance training. It boosts your muscle retention, so obviously explosive movements, help preserve or even build muscle mass, which is often lost if you just do traditional cardio. As we kind of mentioned, you just lose a ton of weight if you're just doing only cardio, because from here you get in a catabolic state, you don't actually get resistance, muscle atrophies. You can also adapt this to any fitness level. So whether you're a beginner, advanced athlete, I still do high interval training, especially if I'm out of town. You just need to adjust intensity of the training depending on your fitness level. And here's like the final thoughts for fat loss. Incorporating HIIT into your fitness routine is a very powerful way to accelerate fat loss while maintaining muscle mass. It's high calorie burn. It boosts your metabolism because you're building up muscle. Short durations make it very, very, very effective, right? It's a very effective way of training, especially when you're out of town. And if you're super short on time, remember to listen to your body, because this is really, really taxing on your nervous system. Cool. And from here, combine this with other activities so that you can accelerate fat loss, such as your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And you can start with only 2 to 3 sessions per week. You can increase intensity. So not only shed fat, but you're going to improve cardiovascular fitness and athletic performance because you're becoming explosive. Let's go, baby.